All the examples in part 1 used very small networks to describe the concepts of social graphs. Let's now apply these to larger networks and see how different graph layouts can highlight different aspects of the network. This graph shows comments between members of a 200-user network during 1 month. The graph layout is determined by a force-directed algorithm which encourages closely related nodes to be plotted near each other. The effect of this is that the best connected members of the network gravitate to the centre of the graph and the least connected to the edges. This immediately highlights which members are engaging well and which are completely disconnected from other members. However, as the network grows, this layout becomes increasingly poor at identifying clusters in the network which represent groups of members who are working closely together. This graph shows exactly the same data but with a different layout algorithm which aims to identify these clusters. Here we can see one central cluster of usage and several smaller clusters. However, the clusters remain fairly closely connected to each other as one might expect in a small company. In larger companies, the clusters are typically more distinctly separated, as shown in this graph. It also becomes very obvious from a layout like this how some clusters are too heavily dependent on single members to hold them together. Another interesting way to lay out the graph is based on geographical location. This highlights the communication across regions in a globally distributed organisation. This graph plots the members of the network from the first example based on their primary office location. Here we can see 3 major centres of activity and 3 smaller, less active locations. We also see very strong cross-region links, suggesting the network has been successful in connecting a geographically distributed workforce. I'm often asked which layout is best. The answer, of course, is that it depends on what you want to know. Social graphs can show a wide variety of different relationships. All of the examples covered here and in part 1 have focused on comments between members, but it's also useful to visualize relationships such as members viewing other members' content, members assigning tasks to other members. And members can be grouped together into departments to see the connectivity between departments within an organization.